Good morning, Flosstube. It's Pam stitching between the lines. Today is Sunday, May 1st, 2021, and this is Flosstube number 111. Oh, what has gone on? April was a whirlwind. I don't even know why. It was just a whirlwind. We're starting to get some nice weather. You can see how bright it is coming in the window. I'm going to reach over here and turn the lamp off. That might be making it worse. Yeah, I don't know. It's a south-facing window, so I don't know why it's quite so bright, but it's exaggerated in, the camera. So anywho, here we are. April. I worked on some things. I bought some things. I read some things, and I don't know what else. Anyway, I was doing I don't keep a lot of detail in my journal. I mean, this is new. I mean, this is the second year I've kept any sort of record. But I do put all my whips in. And I don't even write necessarily what I worked on that month. I guess I probably could. I probably should. I write when I finish something, though. But I don't say what my whip was for the month. Because as you know, if you've been around for a while, last couple of years, I pick a large project and work on it all month, and then I mix in a small project, and if I finish it, maybe another small project. So that's generally how I do things. So I noticed as I was writing out my May plans, I didn't start a single thing in April. I started 3 things at the end of March, which I showed you in the last video, and because I finished Kringles, and I decided I was starting 3 things. So you have to go back to that video and video 109 and see some of those details. So there's not a lot for me to recapture out of April because it looks like this. I write the Flosstube number I did on the date I did it, so I know. And then I do my whips, which again, this is a year and a half in of keeping track of my whips, and I've done that pretty well, but I don't write a whole lot of anything. We're getting there. I think in the beginning I might have said which big things I was working on. I did a little better. I did a lot better. I think it's April when it fell apart. Pretty much April's the only one with nothing. So maybe I can go back, put in there. I only worked on 2 things. My first choice for April, and I believe we touched on this. Now, nobody fall out of their seat, okay? Nobody. Hang on. Put your coffee cup down. Look how ready I am to show you something. Two of them all like put on a little, display thing, so I'm not trying to unroll it for you. So I have notes on my phone, and I'm trying to keep my phone awake over here. So Pumpkins by Luca S. I showed you last time, I believe, where my starting point was, because in March I pulled it out and decided to try to figure out where something was wrong in here, because the last time I worked on it, I felt like I got off somewhere in this vase of water. So I pulled it out and I couldn't figure out anything that was wrong. And so I'm going to put a picture here. This is my starting point in the month of April. In the first weekish, I think, of April was taken up with, oh no, yeah, okay, not true, never mind. I started it in April. I picked it up to work on. So my goal was I was somewhere in the midst of this. My goal was really, after I got started and things were moving along, my goal was to finish the shelf for the top of the cabinet and to finish up through here. Ooh, as prepared as I am, I didn't pull the picture out. Hang on, it's right here behind me. So I did that. And so there's a bunch more greens and stems to do. And then the big orange pumpkin. So I'm confident that the next time I pull this out as a large for a month, that I will finish it. I love working on it. I don't know if I had a few free days if I would pick it up. I'm not positive. I feel like this needs some dedication, some setup, arrangement. So there, look at that. Isn't that amazing? Oh, so I'm very pleased with that. It's progress on that piece. One of the things that's helped me, I don't know if I've talked about this. I also didn't plug in my microphone, so let me do that. And hopefully there won't be any issues up to this point. Okie dokie, microphones. One of the things that's helped me a lot on the Luca S big project is I bought one of these. Is it a Paco organizer? Yep, P-A-K-O, Paco organizer. And a package of 50 needles from my friend Penny at the Daily Stitcher. And I set it up so that every thread is in a needle, already threaded with the symbol. This guy's like doing I don't know what. And then I store the whole project in a big basket, so there's room to just leave it. The threads are on 4 cards like this. I've got them all clipped because when you start winding and unwinding, they start to want to spring free. But the symbols are there. It's anchor floss, nicely organized. Truly pleased with a Luca S pattern. Would happily do another one. So anyway, these are worth their money when you have a big project. I'm a very organized person, but when there's a lot of pull one thread out, when there's a lot of fussing around, it's a really great thing. So of all my projects, that's the only one I have that arrangement set up on, but I have a second one of those should I need it. So that was my whip for the month. And then my small whip I decided to work on because I couldn't stop was one of my 3 starts in March. I'm looking at my book, sorry. See, apparently I refer to it. So I started Peter and Peep. I started 3 things. This was one of them. And I simply could not stop working on it. Like, honest to God, this is one of the sweetest patterns. And again, don't fall out of your chair. I finished it. I can't even tell you how much I love this thing. It is done on Picture This Plus. Let's go doubloon. I don't know. If anybody really cares, you can ask me. I looked it up before this video, but there's so many little details to remember. I'm going to say it's doubloon. Even from looking at it, I would say that. It is so awesome. I believe it's 32 count, 1 fiber over 2 threads, which is not my general go-to, but Picture This Plus is usually a little tighter weave. And that sort of primitive look, perfect. So this one, I had a frame in mind. I kept thinking about it as I was working on it. You know, thrift store frames, right? This one is what I was thinking. Wouldn't that be fabulous? But it's too small. The frame is smaller than the entire thing, so that's not going to fit. But I have this one. It's that red that I kind of kept going to in my mind. But I have this one. Again, thrift store frame. This is apparently, I don't know, whatever. This I think might work. Yeah, if I can make my fingers do what they're supposed to so you can see it next to the detail. I'm thinking this one might work. So we'll give that a go. We'll see. I'm not known for my FFOing. So that was it for stitching for the most part. There's my washer finishing. I have a lot of laundry to do today. I did buy some stuff. It's funny. I should know that the absolute minute I pat myself on the back for not really seeing anything I gotta have, I will see something I gotta have, and then that'll lead down a hole that just doesn't end. So I was watching Saltbox Stitcher, and she was showing that she had purchased this pattern, which is the rabbit and the rose. I don't want to take it out. Everything's so pretty folded in here. And that she purchased it at Country Sampler in Spring Green, Wisconsin. So I went there. No, that wasn't what sold me yet. It didn't sell me, but I do like a bunny that looks kind of like an Easter bunny that looks like a chocolate bunny. I don't like the taste of a chocolate bunny, but I like the look. So then she held up the threads, and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know what it is. I think it's that teal and those reds. I think just made me buy it like instantly. I might have stopped the video to go check. I think I purchased it later when I had time to browse the website, but I checked to make sure that the kit was still there. And that's insane, like as if I need the kit. It's DMC, but my DMC isn't gonna look that beautiful. It's the full kit with the fabric and the finishing. Come on, I treated myself. I did. So I bought that. I just said, what is it? Stuff says on Just Keep Stitching, take my money. That's what I said. Just take it. And while I was there, this is another bag I don't want to lose, sorry. While I was there, I found this very cute Christmas Quaker, because if I'm going to do a Quaker, mostly, I want it to be Christmas. Jardin Privé. I haven't kitted it or anything. And then, because I don't have it, and you should, and because these two especially made me do it, I bought the Snowball by Brenda Gervais. 7 winter-themed pin cushions. I see 5 on the outside. Here's number 6, also adorable. Let me see if number 7. Look at number 7. How cute is that? Okay, so I did it. And then I'm thumbing through my stuff over there because I was thinking about something else. Excuse me. I was thinking about something else, and I didn't really recall if I had showed anybody this. Hands-On Designs Red, she said. I just really liked this. I loved it. And you could, if I ordered the kit, it came with, if I ordered it, I think it was I don't remember where I got it. Sorry. I could get if I bought I don't want to call it a whole kit because there's no fabric in here, but the bundle, I don't know. It came with the color and cotton threads, so I really wanted to do that. I really wanted the threads to do it with, and who knew if by the time I sat down to stitch this, if I'd be able to get the threads. So there, I did that. And these so there's a few things I ran across that I had purchased previously, but I'm not sure I showed you. I don't really remember talking about them, but they're still out, so maybe I haven't talked about them. Somewhere along the line, I found a couple patterns by Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery, which I am unfamiliar with. But that's really cute. I love the border. Yeah, I'm starting to sound like somebody who does samplers all the time, and they always say how much they love the border, and I'm not really a huge sampler kind of stitcher. I like to stitch like a picture that makes sense. Because, you know, Peter and Pete makes sense, right? He does. It's really cute. So this one is called Hope, Summer at Pansy Patch Manor. And this one I bought, which I loved even more, same designer, Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery, is Peace, Winter at Pansy Patch Manor. I believe there was a third one that just didn't speak to me. Wondering if this will go without the alphabet. It's entirely possible. This one will lose its alphabet in the stitching process. And, you know, I ran across, these were things that I bought, I think, from Market, and I believe I talked about them. Can't remember if I showed them. So again, Quaker, but what I loved was that she turned her Quaker motifs into flowers. I loved that. Absolutely loved that. And while I was there, wherever I was, buying my Market releases, I got this one. I really want them all, but let's talk reality. Like as if, oh my God, I'm killing myself. As if I purchased with reality in mind, okay? So apparently this is where I draw the line, thinking I'm going to stitch all 12 of these. Don't bring it up. Let's not talk about it. And then, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many minutes in we are. Oh, 15. I took some pictures to be framed, which that'll be a future video. And then I shopped around for some things at Hobby Lobby to finish some pieces on. And this is funny. Somebody in my extended family works at a Hobby Lobby, so I feel like I should ask them if theft prevention / security is really obvious or prevalent, or I don't know. It's not like I really want to say what a store has or does as far as like loss prevention goes. But I go to the store and it opens at 9, and I got there like at, I don't know, 9:15. So I go in and I've got my bag. Let me see. I have a baggie of projects. A big bag of projects. And I'm slowly going up and down every aisle, and I'm stopping and I'm picking things up and I'm getting things in and out of my bag. I'm trying to be very open about it. There's nothing in my purse, except then I had to get out my tape measure, and then I kept putting that in my pocket and getting that back out. So I wasn't there very long when I started to see this guy who was very much not, like big time not your average Hobby Lobby shopper. And he was always somewhere right around me. Like not trying to pass me in the aisle or even in the same aisle or anything like that, but he was always like, in the center of Hobby Lobby, there's those short aisles, and then the main one that goes down through the middle, and then another row of short aisles. He was always like right in the next kitty corner short aisle behind me, so that when I went up an aisle and maybe came right back down it or whatever, I was trying to be very methodical about how I was going, and I would come down and he'd be right in the next aisle across the way, looking at I don't know what. He was everywhere I went for a while. He was there. I thought, And then he was gone when one of the store associates was in the aisles a lot of times where I was with her iPad. I don't know what they do, but there were more than one person doing the same thing. I don't know if they're checking inventory or price checking or whatever they're doing. So I was never left alone in that store. But I took a bunch of things, and I have ideas, which we're not going to belabor all the ideas, because sometimes they don't work out. But this I finished, I don't know how long ago. 2021, I guess last year. Don't ask for details because I don't have them right here with me. Oops, sorry, that was the microphone I hit. And I'm not entirely sure if I got things to do for all of these. I think those two I did. And this one I did. Yes, okay. I got stuff to finish 3 of them on. Which you're just going to have to wait. Oh, there goes my clock. I don't turn it off. I have Patriotic Santa. I had a hard time. I couldn't find anything to do him on because I've stitched it on this really bright white, which I think looks fine. I found, this is the time of year though with all the patriotic stuff, and I actually found the perfect wooden flag-like board, but it was, all my very bright whites didn't work against the very primitive looking cream of the white of that flag. Was a real primitive cream. So that was a bummer because really this would have, but it's early in the patriotic season. So anyway, I got things to finish 3 pieces on FFO, and I took 2 to the framer, which you'll have to wait to see. And I bought one thing at the store where I get my framing done. And it's a horrible picture. You think you've seen horrible pictures. You don't know anything yet. But this was hanging on the wall. And again, I'm not a reproduction sampler person. Let me fix my hair while I'm talking to you. But there was something about this one. First of all, what caught my eye was this big blank space. And there's a name in there, right there. You just can't see it in this picture. It's done in very like ecru kind of colors. So I said, boy, I'm not really a big sampler fan, but that blank space would drive me crazy. And she said, that is Maria Kilburn. Didn't mean anything to me. Apparently, I now know much more about Maria Kilburn. Maria Kilburn is George Eastman's mother. And if you have any association whatsoever with Rochester, New York, you know that Kodak, George Eastman was the founder of Kodak. Kodak was, talk about a company town. That's what Rochester was, Kodak. And his mansion is a museum, and it's definitely worth anybody's time to go there and go through it. And it has different events during the year that are fun to go see, and his life story. It's so interesting. But his mother was Maria Kilburn, and she lived with him, I don't think his entire adult life. She was widowed kind of young. So when you go through the house, you see like her bedroom and stuff. So this, she stitched when she was 10 years old in 1831. And it was reproduced by our local EGA chapter, which is the Genesee Valley chapter of the EGA. So I just thought, first of all, but other than that blank space catching my eye, what I absolutely loved, like honestly, this picture is just defies description. These are the colors it's stitched in. 5 DMC colors. A terracotta, a very light, taupey, ever so slightly terracotta, 2 blues, and then a taupe. So, of course, I bought the pattern from the store where I was. If anybody wants information about that, I can be more specific. It came out, I think, in 2004, so it's been around for a while. But this EGA chapter is who owns the rights to it. I don't know where they sell it, other than at the store I was at, and I've never seen it there. My store where I get my framing done recently moved, and they moved into a lot smaller space. So that meant that a lot of patterns have been shuffled and the wall displays are different. So that's probably what caught my eye, is that this was in a different spot. This particular store, and again, you can in the comments and we'll chat about it a little bit if you're really falling over and need to have this. She doesn't have an online presence. She does have a Facebook page. I really don't know what her sort of arrangement would be if somebody called her and said, you wanted this. I paid $10 for the pattern. If she'd, I don't know, mailing it, charging you mailing. I really don't know. But there it is. I looked on the EGA's website and really couldn't find anything about how to get this pattern. They have a Facebook page more than a website, I guess. I suppose you could message them and maybe get it directly from them. I really don't know. But it's an interesting piece, and I feel like I maybe would start it soon just because of the local history. And here's the thing it didn't even occur to me until I was thinking about talking about this. I didn't even take a picture of the framed piece at the store. The original is hanging at the George Eastman House Museum in Rochester. So I'm not sure what their photography rules are, but maybe someday I'll get there again and look for it and take a picture of it. But so it looks like it's on this really awful red, but it's not. The pattern calls for antique white, which I'm not really feeling. So together you and I are going to look at some fabrics. I just went through my drawer and pulled out some This is some, just that caught my eye. This is Picture This Plus Mellow, which is one of my favorites, but this might be a little more yellow, although yellow is the kind of color that's coming to my mind as a good color choice. And then I have a piece of, this is funny, this is a Silk Weaver Days Gone By, but it's an Aida, which is kind of weird. But I was years back when it was previously owned, I was in a Fabric of the Month, and I think I was in the Surprise Me Fabric of the Month, and so I got fabulous stuff. So this is a piece of Days Gone By, and it's a 16 count Aida, and it really is a nice color. And look at that modeling. This is huge. I'd have to cut it down. Find the right area and cut it down. Not bad. I don't know. This number 644 isn't a huge standout on either of these. And then I'm digging through my drawer a little more, and I found this. Hang on. Gotta be neat about this. I found a piece of Zweigart 32 count linen cinnamon roll. Let's see if we can get it good. And this piece, I think, did it. I think this terracotta on there is gorgeous. Like that combination, I think that might do it. There's not a single thread that I have in my little lineup of 5 threads that I don't like on there. So that might be it. I can tell this is a really tight 32 count. I think that it would be a 1/2 situation, which is okay. This is a sampler that is almost 200 years old, right? Am I doing the math right? 1831, 2022. One of the mysteries is, and this, you're not really going to be able to see this, but this is two initials and a name. It's in the sample stitched at the store. I could see what it said. Let me see if I can find it. H.A. Luce. H.A. Luce, L-U-C-E, are the initials that are stitched, or the name that's stitched right here. And it's funny because the line is off. Like she stitched the H, I think, higher than the other 2 letters, or the H.A., and then dropped down a spot or 2 to do the loose. The speculation in here is that maybe that was a teacher, who taught her to stitch. Could be a family friend or possibly her teacher at the time she did the sampler. So currently that's a mystery. Possibly in the almost 20 years since this was created, maybe there'd be something I could find online. I really don't know. So I'm pretty sure it's going to go on this piece of cinnamon roll. I have had this piece for years. I don't even know where I got it. I know I've been waiting for something that would work for this dark brown. It's a big piece too. Well, fat quarter. It's hard to show you with the light shining through it. I think it goes better if it's folded in half. So that might be what I do that on. Wouldn't that be cool? So I don't know if I'll start that now. I'll kit that up and put it in a project bag and see what happens. So I'm looking around to see what I've got still. I believe for the month of May, I am not going to pick a big project. I am going to go through my box of small things. Again, what's with the hair? Sorry. My box of small things, and I think I'm going to work on a bunch of them. I have 14 whips. And a lot of them are these smaller things. And I really and honestly prefer the big girls. And I have another Wishes It Was a Whip. I brought it home from Florida. I haven't started it, but I have loved it since the minute I saw Dina half stitch, cross stitch doing it. Loved it. It just makes me think of my little girls and being at the beach. I just love that. So I bought the kit way back when, and I haven't even serged the edge of the Aida. I'll use the Aida. I stitch in hand, and it softens up beautifully. I don't have a problem with that. I went through and I put all the, I don't remember if the flosses came sorted. They did. I'm pretty sure they did because I've got these little cards in the bag. I put them all on you know, bobbins to make it much easier than keeping all those things organized, and it just looks so pretty. I mean, seriously, so stinking pretty. And curiously, not sure, there is no black in here, but here's the curious thing. I'm not looking at the pattern. When I was in Florida, because they have bigger Joann fabrics than I have around here, I bought some of the anchor on a spool, and I bought 310. What DMC is 310, anchor it's 403. I bought black, I bought white, and I bought 3865, I think, a color that I can't ever keep in stock in my house. And the black is in this bag. So is it in here because black wasn't provided? I don't really know. Or did I put it in there to get it home? I don't know. That was eons ago, back in March. I don't know what I was doing. So that's a wishes it was a whip. It's in a project bag that's not really big enough for this. And I hate that this box pushes so hard on the vinyl, so I need to find a bigger bag. But I love my Made by Mama Joan bags. Just love them. So anyway, that's in there. What else? Okay, so back to my small bag. Box of small goodies that I'm going to focus on for the first couple weeks of May. I wasn't really going to talk about the second half of May. I'll only touch on the fact that I'm hoping my framing is back by mid-May, and we can do a video where I show that, and I can show whatever I FFO'd, because I'm going to make an effort to get some FFOing done, because my box, when I knew I was going to Hobby Lobby, my box of finished pieces that are unfinished was fuller than I imagined. So I'm gonna try, but we've got some things going on at the end of May. We'll talk about that later, maybe even after it's over. I don't know, whatever. Sorry, things catch my eye, like people's car doors and stuff, because there's nobody living in a lot of the houses around me. So when there's a car door slamming, you know. So anyway, one of my littles is the Mary string. Most of these, yeah, I don't know. A lot of these were when I started on New Year's Eve, when I started 8x8, which is my modified version of 12x12. I know Pam of Just Keep Stitching was doing it, and I forget who created it. I don't know. My memory, too many things have happened since New Year's Eve 2021. I started this, and I actually have picked it up and worked on it a couple times because, look at, there's thread hanging in there. It's quick and easy. I've had to do something about the white. I changed some of the white to pink, but like the letter L, I didn't want to make pink for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not there right now to remember. I made it white. It's so big, I was hoping it would show. So what I'm kind of hoping is Vonna Pfeiffer on her Instagram hinted that that her next cross stitch and what is it? Punch needle and cross stitch. What is that? You know what I mean? That magazine. I get it on my iPad, so I don't have like the magazine to show you. But it's, everybody gets it. She hinted, I think, that her finish tutorial in that magazine will be drums. She's done one. I could watch the video. I'm kind of wondering if I had it done, if I could have it done to be a drum. It'll be kind of big, but whatever. Variety, spice of life. This I don't think would take me more than a couple days to finish, but at the same time, I like having this one to grab if I am going to be somewhere where I don't have a magnifier, like went to my daughter's house, which is one of the places where it got work done. So I don't know. In there, I have one of these. I don't know if I've ever talked about these. I love little tins and I often have one in my project bag. The needle slides. These, like, I find them on, like, Down Sunshine Lane. They come with a little tiny magnet in there, so you can stick your needles in there. This, I think I bought at Joann's. No, I got it somewhere else. There goes my package of needles. It has a big magnet. The whole bottom is a magnet. So, like, your scissors fit in there. And then often I have needles, extra needles in there. This one is probably my oldest one. And it was like a little free gift in a quilt kit. And I love this thing. This is my travel one I take with me. So I have some scissors in there that fold up. I have a needle minder in there that my friend Lee gave me. I love it. It's upside down, the Harry Potter book. And then, there's a magnet. There's a wonder clip, odds and ends that you might need. But when I travel, I see this posted a lot on Facebook on like the cross stitch pages, and people ask about traveling with scissors and whatnot. And you can travel with your little scissors. I just don't travel with my good scissors, like my Gingers. If they got taken away, I'd be sad. But I like to put things in a little metal box, because then nobody can see their scissors and needles in there. I have never once, and this is domestic travel in the United States, I've never once had anybody pull this out of my bag and look to see what it was. You have to really travel smart when you travel with electronics and whatnot. So we are TSA pre-check, so we don't have to unpack things and take shoes off and all that. But in fact, they don't always give you bins in the TSA pre-check line. But one of the things we've learned is to keep our electric cords very separate. Like if you're taking the cord to your laptop or whatever, your phone chargers, and, I travel, I have like my watch charger, phone charger, keep them very separate from everything. So they're very easily distinguished. Keep them in a baggie, pull them out, put them in a bin, that kind of thing. So don't draw attention by piling all your cords on top of something like this. So anyway, I love these. I like to have a lot of my projects, I like to have a needle slide in there. Or if I'm leaving the house with a project, one of these. Just keeps things nice. Keeps my sharp scissors, which I don't normally keep in a project bag. It keeps my sharp scissors away from soft things. That's really what it comes down to. I don't take my stitching out of the house generally, but if I'm going over my daughter's, I'll grab like one of the simple, easy to work on things. Or if we're traveling, I'll reassemble and take something. I don't really, I don't know. I have trouble stitching on a plane because it's movement, but I can. Sometimes I can. Whatever. Talk about that another day. So another one of my 8x8s could be, I will pull it out and work on it and finish it, is a shepherd's bush. What was this called? Home. Something. Just home. So I know you've all seen all the things, but we're revisiting today. I got the sheep done and started on the hillside. The sheep, I think, is the biggest part of it, component. So a lot of these, I feel like if it was what I worked on in the evening, it would just take a couple evenings and they'd be done. This one I started January 1st of 2021. I started 3 things, one thing on the first, one thing on the second, one thing on the third. In the meadow, I finished and showed it last time or the time before. This is another one, and I literally have worked on this twice since then, maybe. You got to be in the mood for some snowman. But honestly, I really could make a dent in it if I got the other snowman outlined and whatever. You know how it is. You always say those things. If I would just work on it, I'd get it done. So that, along with the other one I started and still have ongoing, I'd really like to get done and over with. Holly, Jolly Happy Soul. That's another one I started on either January 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of 2021. And apparently I have stitched on this Probably not since the day I started it. Again, got to be in the mood for a snowman. Apparently I was that January because all 3 of them I started were snowmen. Let me see what else is in here. There's a lot of Mill Hill in there. That's not what I'm working on. I didn't start this. This is just in here. I don't know if this would be a new start. I don't know if that's happening. Hot cocoa. I think it's in here because I had this little bit of fabric left after I finished measuring out for Mary string. And I think I thought that would work on here. And there's actually thread in there. Maybe. I don't know. Can't even find the zipper. I'm going to work on it. Why do I think there's more things? I think there's more things that I started on January 1st and haven't finished. They must be in the bigger project bin because the only thing left is this bag full of Mill Hills, which none of them are started. But I do have this one started. I believe I started this one in Florida. I don't even know if I've ever shown it to you. And worked on it a little bit. And not again. So that'd be a good one to get finished. So we'll see. It's really not as many as I thought that we would be showing you. I would be showing you. There's just me. Cooper's somewhere else. So there, that doesn't seem so bad. I'm wondering what's over there in my big bag or big bin of big things that we didn't talk about. But if they're over there, it's probably because they're bigger projects. So they're not really what I'm focusing on in this part of May. So there. Oh, look. Weed whacking is going on. We'll just try to wrap this up then. I did a lot of book reading. Or books that led to talking about other books. So I finished A Gentleman in Moscow, which I talked about on my last video, I think. Was it that long ago? Or did I skip talking about it last time and had really talked about it the time before? Not really sure. So I was feeling like that book is by Amor Towles, and I was feeling like it was a book that I should read. I'm part of a couple different Facebook book groups, and it just seems like it was one of those worthy books, a book worth spending your time on. And I got the book from the library, I think, and I I could not get into it. We'll see how much that goes on, and if I have to shut the window. So then I heard, I think when I was in February, I think there was mention on one of those Facebook pages about the audiobook being good. So I downloaded the audiobook and found it to be interesting to listen to. It's just not, it's about a man in Moscow, World War I era-ish, and he's a writer, and he publishes some things that the government takes an affront to, and they sentenced him to go to live in a hotel where he actually had been living in a nice suite, as was sort of common in that era. And they sentenced him to live there, and he actually was, shuffled up to the servants' quarters upstairs where he lived for the rest of his life, basically. And it's an interesting story. It just doesn't really. It didn't grab me. It didn't grab me in with like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Like there wasn't a lot of suspense or intrigue or super involved. Like I didn't always understand what happened. Like the chapter would change and we'd be years later and circumstances were something different. And I'd be like, where did that come from? But I'm not going to say it's a bad story. There's absolutely worth reading, and people have loved it. His next book, something about a highway. I'm not sure. Lincoln Highway. I'm not sure. Maybe if I came across it in the library, I'd check it out. So let's go with that. But it's not on my to-be-read list. And then I read a while back, I talked about, oh, let's go back and I'll put a picture of the gentleman in Moscow right here. What's the book about Harold Fry? That's where I'm trying to go with this one. And people, there were lots of viewers who enjoyed the book, got the book, read the book, enjoyed it. And a couple different people recommended to me that I read the sequel, I guess. It's sort of not necessarily a sequel, it's more a parallel story of the person that Harold Fry is walking across England to see before she dies. And that was his friend, Queenie Hennessy. And so the other book is The Love Song of Miss Queenie Hennessy. And the book is by Rachel Joyce. Put a cover here. It was a very interesting read. Read right along with it. I was very, I have to say, disappointed by the end. I don't want to put that in your brain. Clearly, if you know the story of Harold Fry, you'll know where the storyline is going, I guess. But I will have to say I was kind of disappointed by the end. And then in one of those Facebook groups, there was mention of an Ann Tyler book. And I have read, I think, basically every single Ann Tyler book. There might have been one where the plot just didn't stick with me, just didn't appeal. I have some authors that I have read all of their books from the beginning. Every time a new one came out, I'm waiting at the library for it. And sometimes when time goes by, enough years go by, their writing style just doesn't kind of keep up. I don't know why. There was an era when, I don't know why, and this hasn't even been that long ago, when books, like every book I picked up seemed to have some sort of World War II connection. I was sick of it. So I don't know that she's written any books like that, so I can't say that, but I feel like there was just some losing touch, a few of my favorite authors. So I just sort of dropped away. But Ann Tyler, I actually just read one of her more recent books. And somebody mentioned one, I read it years ago. And I've really been on a kick of reading books that I read years ago for two reasons. One is sometimes I remember a book well enough to want to read it again. Maybe I have it on my shelf, or I'm at the library and I'm looking at one of my favorite authors or whatever, and I'm thinking, I read that and I remember really liking it, and so I'll read it again. And because last year I did so much used book shopping between the library book sale and our area thrift store and the other library's book sale. And so I have a lot of books on my shelf that I've already read. So anyway, at the library, somebody mentions the Ann Tyler book, and I was at the library and I look on the shelf and they didn't have the one I wanted. This other one caught my eye, The Amateur Marriage, which I read. I don't know. Picture here. It is not the one I thought it was, because I remember one of her books where there's a situation, and it's not this book, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly. Have zero memory of reading it the first time. I, honest to God, cannot remember a single thing about this book. And it came out, I'd say 20 years ago. 20 years. I'm buried deep in kids and jobs and, whatever. So that was a good one. And then a while back, I read a book. I really have an interest in reading books in cultures and about countries and cultures that we're not really allowed to glimpse. So, like, I really like. I don't want to say Alaska is not something we're allowed to glimpse, but there's just not that I could ever find a lot written about just life. Just it's a lot of it's just daily life. I'd really like, to read about So I had come across, somebody referred to a book about North Korea called Nothing to Envy. Subtitles Ordinary Life in North Korea, and it's by a woman named Barbara Demick, right here. So I had bought it. No, I got it from the library. I had to request it, and it came from the library. And it was really interesting. It was just daily life in North Korea, told from the perspective of a child who grew up, and ultimate. I don't want to give it away, but maybe it's in that story that she wrote the story about her, right? She ultimately walked across the border and settled in South Korea, which again, that process was interesting. So I had read that, Nothing to Envy, and which led to another book on my wish list called Without You, There Is No Us by Suki Kim here. This is autobiographical book written by a woman who was born in South Korea, grew up in the United States, and went back. She was a journalist, and she went to teach English in North Korea with some missionaries. So she was a journalist posing as a missionary. And as a teacher, it was really interesting. Her story is interesting. She did a TED Talk, if you look her up, Suki, Suki, Kim, about 15 minutes, and it's about her book. The TED Talk's about 15 minutes. And having read Nothing to Envy, to daily life or whatever, and then from the perspective of somebody who goes back and is teaching at a university, teaching English, just I feel like it was a very well-rounded couple of books, a peek into that life. My one daughter took the book and read it right away. Both my girls are teachers, and then passed it along to my other daughter. So I don't know if she's had time to read it yet or not, but they just found it very interesting. So that's my reads. I had a lot, right? Hopefully I got all the pictures in there. And it's a Sunday. What else? My husband went up to help one of my kids with one of their things. My son has been to visit with his girlfriend last weekend. We celebrated a birthday for one of my kids. End of April into May is very busy. My husband's birthday, Mother's Day, our anniversary, my daughter's birthday. What else? Seems like there's more. We'll talk about what's coming up later this month. Maybe I'll get my framing back. It's not like it's huge. It's not huge for anybody but me, so it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Not trying to be mysterious. I always hate those veiled, mysterious statements because you know exactly what they're saying. They're just being mysterious. I just think it'll be a more interesting story once I've been and gone and come back. So anyway, doing a lot of laundry today. It's not the season. It's not warm enough yet. I'm wearing a fleece. It's May 1st to be outside doing some planting. Although my friend dug up a bunch of daylilies, I love these kind of daylilies. And like if you go to a garden center and ask about them, they're like shaking their heads. They call them ditch lilies. People tend to call them that. But they grow really well. First of all, they transplant really well, and they're pretty hardy, and they grow pretty much. They really like our hard packed soil around here. But we planted them all along the back of our garage that faces the house. It's out on the road. The garage is, and it helps once they're all filled in. It helps keep that edge of the lawn nice, and they look nice. And when it rains, it stuff doesn't splatter up on the side of the garage, that kind of thing. So we were out this week planting. Hurried up to get them planted before it snowed, and then yesterday we did all the laying down of the weed. The black cloth stuff to keep the weeds down, and the mulching. And so I've been out to water already this morning. make sure those guys get a good hold. So that's so far been the garden excitement. Mostly I just buy a lot of geraniums in pots and hanging baskets because we're so very, very, very over landscaped. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I bought a couple. This is, I should put a picture in, but I don't know if I'm going to go out there and take a picture. I have a couple big pots on the front porch, ceramic pots. And every season I kind of change up what goes on in there. Like at Christmas, I put a couple fake Christmas trees with lights on them. And in the fall, I have grapevine wreaths with a pumpkin on top that looks fun and nice. And in the summer, I usually buy a drop-in flower pots. They're good, probably 14-inch opening. So last summer, I talked about the bat incident in the fall. And I'm not sure I finalized that story by telling you we found out where the bat was living before he came in the house. He was living in one of those pots. So here I am out there watering them every day and sticking my finger in the flower pot part of the big thing to see how wet it is and whatnot. And when it got to be fall, and then I had hung some wreaths on the front door that were made out of corn stalks that I showed a picture way back. Last summer, I don't know. And they were really cute red, white, and blue flag kind of themed circles, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, a huge chunk of them were gone, like somebody had eaten it. And I'm not sure if a deer walked right up there. Could have, I don't know. Or if the bat was chewing on it. I don't know. We didn't know how many we had. But anyway, fall came. And it was time to get rid of the flower pots. I pulled them out, and there were droppings all in there. So, no live flowers are going in there. I bought at Hobby Lobby, and they actually really look nice. I bought some fake ferns, like good size ferns, to put in there. They actually do look nice. So, so there won't be any watering out there. What else? I don't know. We'll see. Boat's in. It's probably the earliest we've ever had our boat in because our dock is permanent dock now. So our boat, the marina, when they bring all the boats out of storage, can get ours to us early because they have to hold on to the ones that people's boat lifts aren't in yet. So seeing docks go in, and every now and then another boat cruises by, but it really is too cold to be out on the water. The fishermen go out, of course, and they're all bundled up, but not quite me yet. So anyway, spring will come. Spring comes fast, and it'll get here, and I don't know. And then summer comes, and then summer begins. That's the best time of year around here. Anything else? I don't know. Maybe if I forgot something, I don't know. But like I said, I hope to be back before around mid-month, because hoping my framing will be back. It just, I guess, depends on if they had to order any of the wood or the frame, wood, whatever. Anyway, I hope everybody has a good one and a good Sunday and a good May Day, and we'll talk to you again. Bye.